Hey, what's up everybody? This is Brian coming to you from the basement. I want to take a few minutes just to kind of go over what my plans are for the next few months with regard to this channel. I want to do a ton of builds. I want to do a bunch of, I don't want to call them tutorials because really I'm trying to figure things out as I go. What I want to do is I want to take the opportunity to capture all this. Just as a learning experience, it might help to shed some light on different ways of doing things, and certainly I'm going to learn. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, and I'm just going to bring everybody who pays attention to the channel along for the ride. So among some of those new things that are coming, first of all, I've got some new gear coming. You're actually seeing some of that new gear right now. So I just picked up a new DSLR camera. Got a Canon EOS Rebel T6i. So that's going to be my primary camera for filming on the channel going forward. Right now I'm using the internal microphone. It's a stereo microphone, but as I understand it, it's not as good a quality as it could be. So I picked up a Rode video mic that's going to mount on the hot seat on top of the camera, and I'm going to start using that going forward once that arrives. Also in that shipment from Sweetwater Sound is going to be, well, a whole new mixing and recording apparatus. So I'm really excited about this because I've been using this Behringer Xenix X2222 for the last 3-4 years, something like that, as my primary recording interface, and it's been trusty, it's been durable, it's done everything I've needed to do except for good multi-tracking. Now I know I'm a bass player. What do I know about multi-tracking? What do I even have the need for multi-tracking? I do have a drum kit in the room, and I do want to be able to capture each individual mic and be able to mix it and adjust EQ and compression and things like that on each individual microphone. And I can't do that with just a stereo channel output to my recording interface. So I've picked up a Behringer XR18 box. And that's going to go in my rack down here below the desk. And I've also, just because I'm used to knobs and faders and I want to kind of retain that, I picked up the Behringer X Touch as well. So that's the control surface that hooks up to the XR18. It also will control my DAW, and it'll control the XR app. So I'm pretty excited to learn how to use that because it's going to add a whole new dimension to my recording capabilities, and it'll give me a lot more flexibility in terms of what I'm able to do here in this room. Because I do want to have some local musicians come in to jam with, mainly rhythm section type of stuff, and this will give me the flexibility to capture all of that. Now, a lot of people might wonder, well, why wouldn't you go with something a little bit different? I had a audio engineer friend of mine recommend that I get just a smaller interface, like a 2-channel interface, like a Universal Audio Apollo, with and then put in front of that an Avalon DI box. And I looked into that, and that stuff sounds great. But I am in no danger of recording any kind of pro type of audio. I just want to build content for the YouTube channel right now. That's something I eventually do want to work up to as my playing gets better and as I maybe start a band again, things like that, and want to record good demos. But right now I think for what I'm trying to do, just having that flexibility and that versatility was the deciding factor to go the direction that I went. So some other things I want to do is I want to make some major modifications to this desk I'm leaning on. A couple basic changes I'm looking to do is I want to get the monitor off the desk. So I'm looking at different arm mount solutions. Don't really want to drill holes in my wall, but they do make some cool ones that clamp to the top of the desk. So I'm looking at a couple options there. I need some drawers down here to put stuff, to clear off the clutter off the top of the desk. I just hate having clutter everywhere, and it's been driving me nuts not having any storage built into the desk. So all these things I'm either going to build or I'm going to purchase and add on. Other things I want to do to the desk is I want to replace this top. I want to do something cool, something that has a little bit more character, something a little bit more creative. So I'm thinking about taking this off and making one out of reclaimed pallet wood, things like that, something like that, and fill in the top of it with resin. So that might be pretty cool. So that's the desk plans, and I know as soon as I start doing things like that, I'm going to have a ton of cable management issues, especially when I get the monitor off the desk, because it's hiding a bunch of spaghetti wires behind it. So I want to fix that. I'm going to have to fix that if I put the monitor some sort of a mount. Also have some build projects in mind. There's a couple build projects that I really am excited about. Number one, I've got a 1973 Fender P bass. Now, this P bass, guys, it's been absolutely mutilated by whoever owned it beforehand. I think somebody in the 80s got a hold of it that was a Billy Sheehan wannabe. They put some terrible black and red crackle paint on it. They did a terrible job of installing a jazz bass pickup in the bridge position, oversized route out cavity that they covered with a piece of pick guard that they painted to match the paint. Then they blacked out all the hardware, which that in and of itself doesn't bother me. I kind of like the blacked out hardware. But let's look at this fretboard. This fretboard is horrible. The scallop job is terrible. I don't know what they were thinking, but it looks awful. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix that, but minimally what I want to do is I want to replace all of the tone pots. I want to strip off all this nasty black and red crackle finish paint. I want to fix the routed cavity for the jazz bass pickup. I'm going to leave that there. And then maybe do something about this horn area that they tried to, I don't know what they were doing, but they made the bottom horn smaller to give better access to the upper frets or something. I don't know what they were thinking, but it doesn't look like a P bass anymore, and I want to fix that potentially. Minimally, I'm going to fix the cavity for the jazz bass bridge pickup. I want to keep that in there and get rid of the paint and refinish it. So because it's a 1973, I do want to use nitrocellulose paint. So I'm probably going to get some rattle cans and do that very, very similarly to what I did with my jazz bass that I refinished last year. I learned a lot doing that. I made a lot of mistakes on that first bass that I think I can correct when I go to this 73P bass. Something else I want to do is I'm about to acquire a Trainer YT15 2x15 bass cabinet. Now, this cabinet is the mate to the YBA1 that's sitting on top of this PV118. So I'm going to match that up, and the one I'm picking up, well, it's got an issue. One of the speakers looks like somebody kicked a hole in it. So I figured this would be a great opportunity to learn how to recone a speaker. So I'm going to try and source the parts to do that with and get it fixed and hopefully get it up and playing. And I like having matching cabs to the head, especially when we're looking at something vintage like that. So that's actually part of my older sister's rig that she got. She doesn't play, she never really got into it, but I'm going to rescue that cabinet from her basement that is absolutely collecting dust. It looks terrible. So I'm going to bring it over here, I'm going to get it fixed, get it up and running, and do a demo on that when it's done. But anyway, that's the plan. I'd love to hear what you'd like me to do first, and then we'll kind of go from there. But anyway, we'll see you next time. This is Brian from the basement.